Russ with some speed. Russ all the way! Slam dunk by Westbrook!
Cade Cunningham with the basketball. Blocked by Anthony Davis. Got it back, though. And he will drive it. Got it blocked again.
That's Anthony Davis. That's Anthony Davis. Don't forget, he's a good defender.
Russell Westbrook drops it off to Davis. Scores on a reverse. The Lakers won 19. The Pistons won 14. 47.8 seconds to play.
Wow, Laker Nation. What a game between the Lakers and the Pistons, man. What a turn of events for the Lakers. After the Isaiah Stewart, LBJ Scuffle, the Pistons had more life to them, going up 17, and the Lakers behind Russ, AD, and Carmelo Anthony came back in the fourth quarter, played with much more passion, effort, and energy, and they were able to overcome a 17-point deficit to get the 121-116 come from behind win, Laker Nation. Ah, boy, man. Hell, we got embarrassed by the Boston Celtics. I fucking hate losing to them. But it is what it is. We redeemed ourselves and came back and got a win. It wasn't pretty, and the Lakers, they shouldn't have been in this predicament. But the silver lining here is that they showed up and when it counted, and they played inspired basketball. They could have laid down flat, but they didn't. And for that, I'm proud of the fellas for showing the fight, playing to win, and hell, getting the W. Welcome to the Lake Show. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing for all things Lakers basketball. If you are subbed already to the channel, swoosh that notification bell to get alerts when I drop videos. Comment, like, share, and subscribe, Laker fam. So let's get into this game and how it unfolded. So the first quarter, man, I thought the Lakers started off with good energy, running the floor well, moving the ball, and getting into their offense earlier. Had a few transition buckets from throw-ahead passes from LBJ to AD. AD was rim running very well to start this game off and had easy buckets. That's what the Lakers need to do to get AD going towards the rim when the defense isn't set to load up on them on the defensive end. Then the Lakers started to settle a little bit for jumpers when they were getting to the rim at will versus the Pistons earlier on in this game. I don't understand why guys like Anthony Davis, LeBron, they like to settle for jumpers, man, when they can score on the inside. It's fucking frustrating. It is frustrating, Laker fam, when they do that shit, because I just feel like it takes away from this team and how good they could be. But as the Lakers were settling offensively, it allowed the Pistons to get back into the game, getting early transition buckets from the perimeter. The Lakers did a poor job defending on the perimeter jump shot this game. Long shots equals long rebounds, and the Lakers started to miss a lot of shots, and the Pistons leaked out. It becomes predictable, Laker Nation, when you're taking a lot of jump shots and you're missing. Hell, if they're expecting you to miss, they're going to be leaking out early, and you have no safety back there to protect the rim, and that's what the Pistons were doing. But they got to do a better job capitalizing, at their advantage, which is attacking the cup and playing in the inside. I liked how DJ started this game, although I don't prefer that he starts, and he's mostly been ass. But he had 5 rebounds to start the game and protected the paint very well against guys like Jeremy Grant going to the rim, Cade Cunningham, etc. All they needed was, all they need is DJ to show effort and protect the rim, alter shots, things of that nature, block shots, rebound, and defend, and everything else is icing on the cake in terms of him scoring at the rim as a lob threat. But I thought the Lakers did a solid job offensively, moving the ball. Russ had himself a solid first quarter with 8 points, going 2 for 2 from the field, from the free throw line rather, and 3 for 3 from the field. I like how Russ, plays in the post versus smaller point guards, particularly when he goes off the dribble instead of doing that bank shot. I like when he goes to the post, backs the opposing point guard player down, and then he turns into face-up mode to go past him to the layup. Russ is a very physical brute force down low. For most point guards, he plays a lot stronger and bigger than what he is. So he's going to be problems. It's going to be a lot of problems rather versus opposing point guards, and that's why I would like to see him feature more than a post, because I believe it can help open up things for the Lakers as it did later on within this game, and it will reduce his turnovers most importantly. But the Lakers go up by 4. Going into the second quarter, 30-26. And then the second quarter, things started to shift for the Lakers. It went from decent to really bad. The Lakers' defense was trash, man. A lineup of Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James, THT, Malik Monk, and Dwight Howard was getting cooked by a lineup featured with Jackson and Hamidou Diallo. I mean, these are decent cats, man. They're not really good players. They're decent cats, and this is the shit that is an issue for me, Laker fan. Decent guys can't be playing like all-stars versus the Lakers, man. That just can't happen. They have to take pride in not allowing guys to go off who are decent and, playing at their best. It's quite ridiculous, man. As a team, as a player, I'm not allowing a scrub or, decent dude to play good versus me. They have to take pride in that. And, Lakers took their foot off the gas pedal as the Pistons were, out hustling them and out rebounding them, getting second chance points, things of that nature. And the Lakers are slow to contest shots on the perimeter for the second quarter and on. The Lakers are down as much as 7, but Dwight Howard's energy after hitting that right corner 3, and then the Lakers went on an offensive stretch and an 11-3 run or so in the last 3 minutes of the second quarter, and then Carmelo Anthony had a 4-point play to follow Dwight Howard's energy, and then Jeremy Grant lit up the Lakers, man. He really lit the Lakers up, and the Pistons went on a 15-2 run. Grant went 4 for 4 from 3 to close the second quarter. The Pistons averaged 98 points per game, Laker Nation, 98 points. And the Lakers already allowed the Pistons to score 68 points in the first fucking half. That's pathetic defense. The Lakers are 28th in the league, and this is mostly because of the fact that they lack effort and heart and energy. That's really it. They have the personnel to play defense, not the fact that they're old. It's just a fucking lack of effort, a lack of giving a shit. It looks like they have tuned out Vogel. And you can see Vogel being dejected on the bench, man. He made his body language was just like, fuck, what am I going to do? And, I blame it on the guys mostly. It's not Vogel mostly, other than the offensive structure, lack of issues, things of that nature. But you can't be a coach and inspire guys to play, man. If you have to inspire guys to play at this stage, it's ridiculous. You shouldn't be playing. And that's what's going on. It's a lack of effort, heart, and energy issue from the players. And the fact that they're tuning out Vogel, I mean, if you're going to fire Frank Vogel, then who the hell are you going to have? There's not really a lot of candidates, and we're already struggling, in terms of a system. And then implementing a system already 18, 20 games in, it's, it could really be bad things for the Lakers, and it may work, but who knows? So maybe they need a shakeup, maybe they don't, but I don't happen to think they do. I said about 25 games in, things will be more smoother. We'll see how it goes. We're about there close, so maybe this will be the game to catapult them off to that, but we'll see. But you can't have no heart, no effort on the defensive end. It's ridiculous. And then have Dwight Howard being the one to take 3-point shots to bust the Lakers out of their late shot clock, operating in the offense. You can't have that, man. It's ridiculous. But he was able to help decrease the deficit. Lakers go down into the second half by 7, 68-61. Howard leading the Lakers in scoring after the first half with 13 points. Grant with 18 points for the Pistons in the first half. Lakers did a poor job defending, man. They did a poor job defending the hot hand and continue to play the zone defense when the Pistons were out shooting them. They were busting the zone from 3. Just dumb by the Lakers and Coach Vogel to continue to employ that. That's more his end, Laker Nation, is the defensive end because he's the defensive coach. But to play a zone against a team that was, hitting from the perimeter makes no damn sense. And then the fact that we have to play against a 4-11 team zone is quite embarrassing. It really tells me that the coach is conceding that these guys, are not good defensively, and I disagree with that. We have the personnel to play defense. Like I said earlier, it's just the fact that the Lakers lack effort, heart, and energy. And if they have that, as they did in the fourth quarter later on within this game, then they'd be a much better defensive team. At the very least, top 10. And at the very, very least, for sure, in the top 15. But it should not be already in the, in the 28th. They went from 21 to 28 very, very fast. And that's unacceptable. And that's on them. They have to look themselves in the mirror and say, how much do we want to win? Do we want to be a championship team, or do we want to be a playing team, or do we want to be a barely playoff team? So it's up to them, Laker Nation. I don't think it has a lot to do with Frank Vogel. So, there's a proverb that states, he who stumbles over the same rock twice is a proverbial idiot. And that applied to the Lakers, allowing Jeremy Grant to kill them from 3, going 4 for 4. A 2 to 3 minute stretch before the quarter ends. Man, typical by the Lakers, man. But bigger issue is I didn't see AD demand the ball. Only had 9 points in the first half. Dwight Howard can't be the leading scorer, for the game to start. He just can't. Especially hitting 2 threes late in the shot clock, like I mentioned earlier. The Lakers have an offensive problem, man, in terms of structure, operating late in the shot clock every game. Stu, Lance, color commentator for the Lakers, continues to mention this shit every fucking game. It's clearly a problem. You know, your possession should not be ending with Dwight Howard taking threes, Laker fam. That's an issue. Fortunately, you know, he made 2 of those threes to help the Lakers decrease the deficit, but just sad. It's just sad. And Lakers have no structure on both ends of the floor. And, you know, I'm convinced that this team is going through, you know, the motions. They have tuned out the coaching staff and Frank Vogel, and they ain't on the same page. They're not on the same page. It's going to be a long season of growing pains unless they wake the fuck up, as they did in the fourth quarter, fortunately. But these are habits that need to, you know, to be broken. They need to be broken. And hopefully in due time. Otherwise, at this point, you know, they may not make the playoffs. At the very least, they may be in a play-in, or they may be eliminated in the first round with this ridiculous, disastrous bullshit that they're displaying every single game, man. It's hard to watch for Laker Nation. It really is. But shit's got to give, Laker fam. And after getting embarrassed by the Celtics, you would have thought they would have came out with a lot better energy, consistency, but no, they didn't. You know, Bron only took 5 shots in the first half. AD and Bron, you know, they seem to be too passive in the first half. You know, you can't have the leaders of the team playing too passive, man. You need to they need to put their imprints on the game from start to finish. Every damn time they play and get their asses on the floor, they have to play to win. They have to play with a killer instinct, because everybody that sees that Laker target, man, that name on the chest of the jersey, they're coming out to fucking, you know, to play their best. Scrubs, everybody in between, they're coming out to play their best, so we have to play our best. Shit got wild, man, when Bron elbowed Stewart in the third quarter. It caused a 15-minute delay. I'm just glad that it didn't happen. You know, Malice at the Palace Part 2, man. It looked like LBJ accidentally elbowed Stewart, but upon further review, after seeing some videos, it looked like he did it purposely with a closed fist. When you have a closed fist, you're intending to hit somebody. And that was kind of a dirty play by LBJ from what I've seen. At first, it didn't look that way, but LBJ was trying, you know, to get away from Stewart as he had a hold of his jersey or whatever on the free throw, and then, you know, LBJ tried to break away, which clipped Stewart. And Stewart, of course, he took exception to that, went fucking nuts, went bananas, going after LBJ. Both teams came out, you know, off the bench, players, coaches, etc., trying to, you know, reduce the tempers between Isaiah Stewart. And Stewart wasn't having that shit, man. I mean, I can't blame him for being pissed, but, you know, in result of knocking over his coaches, man, it's just a bad look on his part. You got to calm yourself, not hurt your teammates, the coaching staff, and the guys that you work with every single day when you're away from your family, man. They're like a family. So you got to protect your family, yourself as well, but at the same time, you got to temper your temptations to want to fight back, and in result, you may hurt other people that are trying to protect you. And so, you know, after that, the Pistons went up by 14 points. Lakers body language, man, I believe it was 17 points rather. But the Lakers body language just looked poor. They looked like they checked out. I couldn't believe the Lakers once again were playing zone against a team that is 4-11. 4-11. Now 4-12. The Lakers handed them a loss, of course, but I couldn't believe it. They averaged 98 points. That's just fucking ridiculous, man. The Lakers had a third poor quarter and looked lifeless as Detroit continued to play well. And things finally shifted for the Lakers as the Pistons went on a 6-minute scoring drought, man. The Lakers they went on a 19-5 run behind Russ and Carmelo Anthony. Pistons didn't score until like the late 5-minute mark with a Jackson 3 over Anthony Davis. Russ was showing great energy to lift the Lakers and had a ferocious dunk on Hamidou Diallo. That's when the game shifted for the Lakers. That's the energy I spoke of, Laker fam, in my preview with Dime Dropper Pro. Check it out if you guys haven't checked it out. But that's going to be able to nullify some issues that the Lakers have at times. And the team will feed off that, and the crowd will feed off that, which will, you know, get the players to play with more passion, effort, energy. And that's, like I said, that's the 3 things that are lacking for the Lakers right now. It's not really an X's and O's problem. It's just a fucking effort, energy. It's basic shit. And you have to bring that every single game. But that's when the energy shifted for the Lakers after Russ had that dunk on Hamidou Diallo. And, you know, we need to see Russ play with more energy like this every game. That way it gives the Lakers a pulse. I mean, because they've been playing lifeless. So they need a pulse, and Russ could do that. But Russ had his imprint all over the fourth quarter, changing the entire dynamic, shifting the Lakers' energy. Also moved well without the ball when AD was getting doubled. Off the ball, Russ had easy layups. It was great. It was great to see Russ play with AD, man. They're getting that 2 chemistry. AD had 2 nice blocks on Kate Cunningham. Then a nice reverse layup dish from Russ Westbrook. Love how he displayed passion after that sequence. That's the fire I want to see from Anthony Davis and the guys, man. That's how you have to fucking bring it every game. Every game. Play with life. Play to win. That's all we're asking. If you lose, so be it. But don't lose lifeless, man. Don't lose going down, not trying. That's the issue. But Lakers outscored the Pistons in the fourth quarter 37-17. That was the game right there, Laker fam. Including the Pistons going on a 6-minute scoring drought. And that's credited by the Lakers defense. And that was a result of what we talked about earlier, which was effort, heart, and energy. The Lakers displayed that in the fourth quarter behind Russ. And then Carmelo followed along with Anthony Davis. But the Lakers could have laid down, flat. They could have laid down flat after being down 17 and then losing their leader of the team in LBJ. But I'm proud of the fellas for fighting back. You can see that Russ, played much better without LBJ on the floor. And with Anthony Davis, Russ, of course, he needs the ball in his hands to be effective. But AD and Russ, man, have much better synergy than LeBron James and Russ. It's clear as day. But Lakers' effort went up, and that's what changed for them defensively. Russ scored 11 of 14, I believe, points of his total, which was 26. He scored 11 of 14 rather, in the fourth quarter. And that was the game right there, too, as well. Him just finding his groove, pushing when he needed to, played a little more controlled. One of his best games as a Laker, for sure. But, played with so much aggression, energy, flipped the script, and got his teammates going, and particularly AD, who had 30 points, going 11 for 19 from the field, with 10 rebounds, 5 blocks. And of those blocks, 2 were very key to keeping the momentum. The 2 that he had on Kate Cunningham, on the perimeter when he took a 3-point shot, then at the rim, helped the Lakers keep that momentum, man. AD was crucial down the stretch on both ends of the floor, guarding and cooling off Jeremy Grant, and then getting those 2 blocks to seal the win. That's the player that we need, Laker Nation. That two-way dominant player in Anthony Davis we had in our 2020 championship run. That's the AD that we need. He just has to be consistent, play with more passion, and demand the basketball, and play like he's supposed to, man. Like a top, anywhere from a top, in my opinion, probably 7 to 10 player. Right now, he hasn't been playing like that in terms of dominating the game and winning the game for the Lakers. You can get your points, but if it's not amounting to winning, then it doesn't really count in my mind. But we need that consistency from AD, that passion and effort, and that goes for the entire team. But good to see them dig their heads out their asses, man. This game and show a fight to get the W against the Pistons. And I can't forget about Carmelo Anthony, who came off the bench with 18 points, 5 for 3 from 3, was pivotal in the Lakers coming back down 17 to decrease that deficit with Russ, and then with AD started to cook earlier on, man. Melo's shot-making ability really creates so much space for Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook and LeBron James to attack the cup, and it did for AD later on within this game, and then Russ as well, because you have to stay home on committed shooters that are keeping the defense honest. Carmelo Anthony's our best shooter right now from 3. So, way to shoot the ball, Carmelo. Way to shoot the ball and open up the floor. And then the Lakers held the Pistons to 17 points in the fourth quarter versus 41 points and 31 points in the second and third quarters that they had. Good job by the Lakers turning up their defense, man, and effort. Good job. That's the defense and the effort that we need every game, Laker Nation. They've also held the Pistons to 44% shooting. Talk about a major improvement on the defensive end, Laker Nation. It shouldn't have been this way. To a 4-11 team. A 4-11 team, now 4-12 after the Lakers handed them this L. A win's a win, but it's good to see that the Lakers gave a shit because it was a hot mess, man. And after the first quarters and then second and onward, up into the fourth quarter when the Lakers started to gain some life. But, Lakers won in the rebounding department, out-rebounding the Pistons 51-39. And that was a key distinction as well. And then a key to this game as well, very key team stat was the Lakers winning points in the paint 56-50. But they got to do a better job, man, protecting the paint. They can't allow 50 points in the paint. But Russ's speed, Carmelo Anthony's shooting, really opened things up for the Lakers in the paint. And then earlier on, man, I thought they did a good job attacking the rim, scoring the inside, getting LeBron James in the post with his turnover to shoulder fadeaway jump shot that he has, man. He should spam that. Like Dime said in our review that we did together, that should be something he should be spamming because of the fact that he hits from that shot in position a lot. But the Lakers should always be an inside-out team, not an outside-in team, man. That's their bread and butter, scoring and inside. And once they get that through their heads, they will be a much better team and it'll reduce issues offensively for them, operating late in the shot clock, things of that nature. But all right, Laker Nation, it's a wrap for this game recap. Lakers got the Knicks, Pacers, and Kings next. Both are winnable games, man. The Knicks and Pacers. I'm sorry, the Pacers and Kings rather. But the Knicks we should be able to win. But after Luke Walton just got fired today, he got canned today. And in my opinion, I've said this from the beginning, he should have never been head coach to begin with. And the Kings are in turmoil. They're in turmoil, so the Lakers should be able to capitalize off of that. That chaos over there going on in Sacramento and get the W, but we'll see. Tougher games will be definitely the Knicks and the Pacers, but if the Lakers bring the same energy, defense, and effort they brought in the fourth quarter versus the Pistons they did this game, they can definitely win this 3 upcoming games on the road trip. They can definitely win. And then, of course, after Thanksgiving, or the day before Thanksgiving, they go back to playing home games. So we'll see how it goes. But it's good momentum to build off of. Comment, like, share, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next video, Laker Nation. Peace out.